Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Wednesday, June 26th. Happy Pride Month. Happy Black Men's Wellness Month. Happy Black Music Month. Welcome to an all-new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is an actor, writer, and he's also a model as well too. Joining me in the dollhouse, we have one of the most groundbreaking writers for the queer community in the world, ladies and gentlemen. And without further ado, let's give a warm, hearty welcome to my very special guest, J.Omarr Tutler. Hi, Naptown. I am doing wonderful. It has been an amazing week thus far. I don't know if you guys seen the interview with Marcos Luis for the One Mic Night podcast. If you guys have not seen it, you guys are living under a rock and you need to go check it out. Because I shared some of my childhood story growing up until now into my adulthood. So check it out if you guys haven't. So without further ado, Fashion Dolls, let's welcome our very special guest. And I'm praying that it works. J.Omarr Tutler. Wait a minute. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? Give me a sec. What is going on today? Give me a sec, y'all. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? Fashion Dolls? Oh, Jay, make sure you update. I think that's the problem. Check and see if your IG needs updating. Yes, y'all can hear me and y'all can see me. Perfect. Good. My earbuds have been really, really helping me through my interview, y'all. Like, these things are amazing. And it's been working pretty good. So we're going to wait on Jay. Jay's going to have to update and then come back and then see if it'll work. And then give me a thumbs up in the comment, Jay, when you're ready, and I'll add you on. So as I was saying before, this week kicked off, I did my interview with Marcos Luis for the One Mic Night podcast. And that conversation was very deep because I dived deep from my childhood all the way up until now. And I must say that sharing that story with the world, it feels like a weight has been lifted off of my back. Things that I've wanted to say for years, and I've kind of touched on briefly on my platform. I was able to share that with Marcos. I wouldn't go on any other platform and share my story because I didn't feel it was a safe space for me. But Marcos reassured me that you got this, is good. So if you guys haven't seen the interview, please go and check it out. He dives deep. There's a deep dive and a deep conversation, and you get to see a different side of me versus here on Style by Steve. Where we have fun, we cut up, it's a little bit more serious. Because I touch on, growing up and having siblings and not having one family member in particular support how you choose to live your life or just choose to walk in your life. So I think a lot of people will be able to resonate with that, and rightfully so. So make sure that you guys please check out that interview. Let me see if Jay is back. Let me see now. Okay, because I see Jay in the box, and I'm hoping that it works. Your backup song. There we are. Can you?
Sorry about that.
You are good. Give me one sec.
Absolutely.
There we are. Perfect. Welcome to the dollhouse, handsome.
I'm happy to be here, beautiful. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here. Happy Wednesday. Happy Pride Month. Happy Men's Mental Awareness Month. And Happy Black Music Month. It's a lot of months.
Absolutely. It's a lot going on this month.
Yes.
And I want to say
So
Thank
before
you
we,
for that beautiful introduction. I heard that. Thank you so much.
you are so welcome. I'm such a fan of your work because just like I had another legend on yesterday, I had an interview with Mark Angel. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
you know who he is.
Yes.
You both have paved the way for so many black queer artists and black queer writers out
Thank
here. So I had to give you your flowers. I'm such a fan of your work, and Masa is one of my favorite pieces of your work.
thank you.
And we'll dive deep into that in the beginning. But before we get into your life story, how has 2024 been for you so far?
Um 2024 has been the year of revelation for me. As most people know, they follow my journey on Facebook and some other things. I dealt with cancer in 2022. Um, and in 2023, I was learning how to live again, but I overindulged in living in certain things. Um,
Mm,
and at the end of 2023, God said, okay, I gave you this chance and now you're messing up all over again. Let me sit you down for a second. So I got extremely sick at the end of 2023. And they thought my cancer might have been back. Uh, but it was God's way of sitting me down and saying, hey, I want you to live, but this is how I want you to live.
yeah.
So it's just been a year of opening my eyes and helping me see things in a new and more productive way.
2024 for me has been like, and I said this to one of my
Okay.
friends not too long ago. I said the 2024 is the year of reawakening for a lot of
Yes.
people. A lot of things are coming to the light, and it's
Yes.
like a new day has dawned for all of us. We've been through 2020, with the
Yes.
pandemic, being locked up
Yes.
inside the house and not being able to access our friends and go out in the world and have fun and celebrate and communicate with each other,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. Whereas now it's like a sense of freeness. Everything that you want to share, everything that's been bothering you, you put it out in the open. And I appreciate you 100% for your transparency in your
Thank
journey.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
totally agree with what you just said. All that and then some.
So let's start from the beginning. Now,
Okay.
is it true that you were born in New Jersey,
Yep.
January 27th?
Absolutely. Brick City in North New Jersey.
All right. You know who else is from New Jersey? She's one of my favorite singers. Whitney Houston
Yes, ma'am.
is from New Jersey.
Oh, we got
Yes.
Whitney Houston. We got Sybil with the Dionne Warwick remix of "Don't Make Me Over" and "My Love Is Guaranteed." Oh,
Yes.
we got a whole bunch of people from here. Oh, and don't forget the Queen though. Queen Latifah was from here.
Oh, yes. My girl, Dana Dana.
Yes,
So, January 27th, you're an Aquarius.
yes, yes. And
Oh,
I'm a
my God.
true Aquarius.
All of my Aquarius is out there. Let me know. Post your zodiac sign in the comments if you're just coming in. Hi, Jay Evans. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So,
It's January 25th. Oh, that's awesome.
yes, Nurse Chula. Okay, we got some Aquariuses in here. I'm a Scorpio. My mom's a Libra. October 7th. I'm October 31st. So I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Halloween baby. And what's so crazy is my brother's February 28th. So he's the
And see,
Valentine's Day baby.
my
I'm the
niece,
Halloween baby.
niece is October 26th. My niece
Really?
was the spitting image. If you look at me and her, she and I side by side, most people think my daughter, not my sister's daughter. But she's October 26th, and she's one of my favorite nieces. I can't say she's a favorite. She's one of the favorite.
Oh my goodness. So you attended Keene University. What was that
Absolutely.
experience like for you? And writing, and what age did you discover that writing and telling queer stories, which I'm honored to be in your presence because you were the first to broke the mold. It was Elin Harris, and then you came along years later, and we start seeing other black queer voices telling our stories of communities where we come from, where we're unapologetically black. So we know about the ballroom scene, we know about all of these things, but there are so many different other parts of the black queer community. So, Jay, I have to give you your flowers while you are here because you are an icon and you have paved the way. Just like with Mark Angel on yesterday.
Yes.
At the time, because you only had two shows that were out during that time, and it was Finding Me and it was Noah's Ark, Patrick Ian Polk.
Yes.
And we talked about the black queer representation in the media, which we'll talk about in this interview as well too. But for you, at what age did you discover that writing was something that you want to do? Because you not only write, but you act and you model as well too.
Um, it's funny. Writing for me started in grammar school, and people laugh when I say this. My cousin, Sharon, he and I were in the same class in the sixth grade, and we had a teacher named Ms. Wilshire Gomes, and she had us sitting up here writing these poems, and I couldn't stand it at first until my cousin started getting praises for her writing. And when my cousin started getting praises, I was just like, "Oh, well, I want to get applauded too." So I wrote my very first poem, and I lied to you not. And this will tell you how I grew up in the projects. My very first poem, it was a tricky poem because if you read it, it was talking about how I couldn't stand, and you thought I was talking about a person. And the whole poem was just
Mm.
like, oh, I can't wait to get out of my house. And when you got to the very end, you realized I was talking about roaches. but that's but from that she sparked my imagination because she liked the way that I played with words and how in the beginning you didn't know that's where it was going. You just knew you thought I was in a relationship where I knew someone who was in the sixth grade. But from there it went to my English teacher in high school, Miss Princess. She was the head of the drama guild in our school, speech and debate club. She wanted me to explore every aspect of it. She gave me a book called One in Ten: The Stories of Gay, Bisexual, Lesbian, Transgender Youth Coming Out.
Mm.
Um, and from that, and all of these were true stories about how all of these young kids come out in the sex. And from there, I realized never at that time it was before I had discovered Evelyn, but I had never read a love story between same gender loving people. I had read about the Stevie and all of that, but I had never read a love story. And it wasn't until I met my best friend, like from each stage of my life, grammar school, high school, people encouraged the writing and they encouraged me to explore the writing and develop it more. But it wasn't until I got to my best friend and she said, "Well, what are you waiting for?" Like we were on the phone
Mm.
one day, and I said, "Oh, I have an idea for a story, and I'm constantly, jotting things down." He was like, "So write it. What are you waiting for?" I was like, "Oh, it's that simple, huh?" She said, "I bet you can't write." I wrote, I wrote Messiah
Wow.
off of a dare from her.
And the book
So
was a
yeah,
success.
yeah. I was very thankful as to how it was received. Like first, it was a bestseller on Amazon. Then it was a bestseller on Lulu. Like I was excited that people were willing to read the story and read it without bias. Like
Mm.
I had one person at the time I was working for cable in New York and New York, New Jersey, and I had one girl who I would ask her to read the chapters as I was writing them. It's I finished the book in a month, but editing and trying to perfect it to the right number to read it going along. And 6 weeks into her reading, she came in black and
Mm.
laughing hard, and I was like, "What is wrong with you?" She said, "I just wanted to say, what are you thanking me for?" Straight woman. Her husband is straight. She said, "I am now pregnant, and it's all your fault." How was it my fault? She said, and these were her words. She said, "In reading the book, you forget that you men and you get engrossed in the story and the criticism of it." She said it turned on both her and her husband. I was like, "Oh." I'll take that flat. But yeah, it's been a love of mine. It started in grammar school and it worked its way through me until I finally got the book out.
And you majored in English literature,
Yeah.
so that solidified it. That kicked it off right from there. And you've written this amazing novel that people are still talking about years later. Did you have any idea, writing this book, sitting here writing this based off of a dare, that people years later would now be coming out and be fluent with that? We're now in a day and age. This is a totally different generation compared to then, with this generation of queer youth and Gen Z, Gen X that are coming out and saying, hey, this is me embracing my sexuality fully and being sexually fluid with who I am and confident with who I am. Did you have any idea that this book would years later resonate with people?
I what's funny is I didn't even think the book would get published because
Mm,
I refused to tone down the sexuality in it. Like the
love it.
first two publishers I went to kept saying, "Oh, well, you know, it's a bit too graphic, and not too many people want to read about sex between two men," and they gave me a list of things. So in my mind, when it finally got published, I was just thankful that it was out there. Like I wasn't expecting people to read it. It was just the gratification of knowing I've done it. Like with every aspect of my life, like I was a background dancer when I was in college, a model, and all of these things. And with everything that I've done in my life, once I lost the fun for it, I just stopped doing it. There's no, I miss it. There's no. So with the book, it was like once I wrote it, I was just like, okay, hands off. I'm glad it's out there. Great. And then when people started reading it and people wanted to interview, and I'm just like, y'all are enjoying this. And one me, which I hold to this day, even now when I'm, writing other, he said, I think the joy we got out of it, or the joy we get, the joy you put into it, did you enjoy writing? I had a blast writing. Like in my mind, every character has a different accent and a different voice. So that's why nothing's coming from one person. Everything has its own voice. And listening to the story unfold in my I was ball. So to find other people ball with it, even now, like you said, even now, with people coming up to me
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, I read that. That was you," and I'm like, and they're like, "Well, when are we getting the next one?" I'm just like, "Oh, I haven't thought about that."
And with this now, I'm going to go back for a second because you said they're not going to publish the book with two men. And then fast forward years later, we start seeing films like Moonlight. We start seeing projects where characters are just being open and embracing their sexuality, mainly black men within the queer community. And people having a sense of open mindedness. And this book definitely opened that. Now, not only did you have Maasai, but you've also given another book as well too, Wines and Spirits. So I mean, the success off of this book just from writing it off of a dare. And I mean, I'm like that too. I like when somebody challenges me to say, oh, well, you can't do this. And my guest yesterday, I'm going to go back for a second because it's different. I mean, it's the same thing in the writing world as well as in the music world too.
Yeah,
They don't want to hear black queer
yeah.
voices. They're not used to it at the time. Oh, stay quiet, be silent about it, don't talk about it. So Mark touched on that yesterday about not being told no because no, oh, you've got a boyfriend. Oh, that's not what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So there's homophobia along with racism in this business, and moment of transparency for you as this amazing writer. What are some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome to get to this point of your life and chapter and say, okay, this is time for me to make more, even more of a voice for these black queer voices out
One of the major hurdles that I've had to overcome is the juxtaposition of how I look versus how I look on paper, how I look in images versus the person that you actually get in front of you. Um, just to back up a little bit, my family has always made me comfortable in the skin that I'm in. Like there's never been I was one of those blessed kids in the 90s who I didn't have to come out to my family. My family knew. And it wasn't even that it wasn't something that I didn't have to talk about. My family would come to me and say, well, when are you gonna bring somebody home? Why haven't you met the boyfriend yet? And I'm like, well, I ain't dating nobody right now. Can you be for a second? I don't like no, but it was that level of comfort that I was raised with. The benefit to that was it gave me a layer of skin to face the world with. The drawback to that is that when I came out into the world, I thought everybody was going to embrace me like that. I thought everybody
Welcome. Right.
me as I am. In the modeling, it wasn't as bad as it is in other aspects because in the modeling aspect, all they want is an image on a page, and anybody can pose hard, soft, like it's character development. So that's easier. But then when I have to with the books, sit up here and explain the book to you, and you see this image, then you get the voice come out of this image, and it's like, oh, or they see my name, and they're expecting one thing, and then when they get me, it's something different. I've been told that I needed to butch it up. I was told that my femininity would get in the way of book sales. I was told that my androgyny would be a hindrance because people wouldn't know what they were getting. I was just like, huh, that's interesting. Well, let's just see if you're right. It wasn't I'm going to hold back. I'm not going to do it. It was a let's see if you're right. It's going to be me. Let's just see what. And it's been a labor of love, but I wouldn't change it. Like you know, some people say, well, if I can go back and I wouldn't do anything differently. I would still forge forward because I believe that just like with us as black folk, we come in all different shapes and sizes and shapes and hues, and us as gay folk come in all different shapes and sizes and hues and everything else. So that's been the biggest hurdle to overcome is them wanting me to be more like who can I use? Um, More like Jussie Smollett, passable, as opposed to me.
Masculine.
Yes, as opposed to me, who is no, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable in my femininity. I'm comfortable in you know everything that there is about me. But kudos to Mark Angel because he and I we move in the same circles and I love his music. But kudos to him
Yes.
because he his industry is a lot tougher than mine. I'll say that.
And both industries. I mean, it's like, okay, no mask, no femme, but when it comes to effeminate, this is not what we're looking for. Even in the black gay community,
Right.
is no fats, no femmes. That's the
Right.
thing.
Right.
And T.S. Madison, she even touched on that. Being a trans woman, both of us being black trans women, we're not welcome in certain spaces. She
Right.
said BET, none of them black gay pride in Atlanta didn't even reach out to her. Y'all didn't know that, did y'all? So,
Mm-mm.
I mean, even in certain spaces, we're not welcomed. Even if we show up as ourselves individually, it is a problem
Yes.
for certain people. They don't like femininity.
Yeah.
Femininity to them is just for women and just that. But my
Right.
thing is, you don't get to gatekeep femininity. You don't get to gatekeep masculinity either.
Right.
It is something called the new divine order that is feminine, and then the new masculine order as well too. So I mean, now with this generation of Gen Z, Gen X, people are coming out as pan, non-binary, intersex, non-gender conforming. You don't have the right to tell someone they can't walk in their femininity in their light. And I'm sorry that that happened to you, Jay, but I know that you being a black, openly gay black man who is feminine and who is confident within his skin has encouraged lots of black queer youth out here because they are taking their
Hmm.
lives just for being told, oh, you're not acceptable, you're not what we're looking for, or as you
Yeah.
said, passable. And even for me as a trans person, as a trans black woman, I've been told, yeah, you've been passable, and there have been times when I have gotten clocked. My safety is still at stake. So I have
Yeah.
to watch my corner, every corner that I have to walk down as well too. There are times when people will question and they will just stare. And I mean, that's one thing. I don't mind people staring. And I said that in my interview with Marcos. But when you threaten someone's safety, that is room for concern.
Right.
And what we're seeing now is people say, no, feminine. You can be anything else in the world, but you can't be feminine. Feminine is for women only. And they're just like, men can be in touch with their feminine side as well too. There's not just femininity is not just for
Yeah.
women. So we're not a monolith. In the black queer community, we're not a monolith. So you're gonna have RuPaul, you're gonna have Big Freedia, you're going to have T.S. Madison, you're going to have Mark Angel, you're going to have a J.Omarr, you're going to have a Avery Wilson, a Jussie Smollett, a Rod from Noah's Ark, Patrick Ian Polk, or you're going to have someone like a Daryl Stevens from Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
All of us are not the same. And that's the thing right here. We're not a monolith. So when you put someone in a box, it ostracizes them. It ostracizes them. And I've been in that position before where I've been told, with me pushing the envelope with sexuality as far as my outfits. Because when I started right after high school, 2014.
Sure.
And when I first started this platform, I was always buttoned up. And I wanted to stay conform. Shout out to my girl, Rage. I'm going to tag her in this. She said, girl, you got to switch it up. If you want to bring, if you want to bring more, bees to the beehive, and you got to have some honey.
Yeah.
And that's what she told me. And she said, you got to change it up. Because when I first started, I had a blonde mohawk. And that's all I wanted to wear. I wore capri pants and sometimes things that were off the shoulder. Whereas now, let me tell y'all something. Back, leg, breast, you're going to get everything. I've got being authentic in myself and in my skin. And a lot of people gravitate towards that
Hmm.
because they're just like, I don't want to be put in a box. I want to be my own self and individuality. And that is key. So
I,
shame on those who told people that you were too feminine for them. And that's another thing. Don't you just hate misconceptions? Because that's another thing in the queer community that we get too, is that, oh, they must look like this, and it's just like when you sit down and you have a conversation with the person, it's the complete opposite. It's the complete opposite. It's not what people look at a picture and they assume.
yes. I tell people all the time, I love, you will never hear me d- talk down to, talk about, or disparage anyone.
Yeah.
I think everyone in their own right is beautiful. May not be beautiful to you, but they are beautiful and they're beautiful to someone. I've learned to embrace everything about me that was ever called negative. And just like you, my best friend in the whole world, she is a 6 foot one and a half trans woman whom ever since we met in college, everyone thought we were boyfriend, girlfriend, everything. But I have tell everybody, in order for me to have friends, I have to be in love with that person. Not sexually, but there's something about this person that I love and that I'm in love with. And that's what creates a true friendship. My she and I have been best friends since for 29 years now.
Wow.
I, I wouldn't trade her in for anything in the world. Why? Because she's totally different from me, but we're the same. And I love everything about her.
And that's another thing in the community too, is that you hardly ever see friendships like a brother and a sisterhood. We're so divided, and that's another thing that Mark touched on as well too, as well as one of my guests that I had on the show previously last week. It's like it's a division in the queer community with the trans community, and then the queer community as well too. And it's like we have to bridge that gap. We have to.
You know what
And
the comes in
misconceptions
at,
is our
though?
biggest demon. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Exceptions, but also where the divide comes in is that what people don't understand is that not every most people will assume that because somebody pays them a compliment, especially now with the younger generation, and
Woo!
not it's not solely to them because and I say this to my friends all the time. I think we had a hand to play in how they are and who they are because there are some of us who do hit on them as opposed to trying to guide them. We're trying to sleep. I tell people all the time that every attraction, if you act on it as a sexual attraction, you may mess up something else. Let it run its course. Let it do what it's going to do. But not every attraction is meant to be sexual. I like I said, I in total 6 best friends. I am in love with each of my best friends. Nothing about that love is sexual. Nothing. Even though people assume it is, we have never been intimate. Any sense of the word except on spiritual, physically, never. And I like it that way. These were relationships in my life that were never supposed to go that way, and I'm glad. But with these kids now, they're walking around here calling somebody their brother, but you find out that they've been sleeping together. You go, that's your brother. Okay.
I mean, that's the younger generation as it pertains to uh, in our community. You know,
Yes.
they're brothers, and then they're dating, they're having a thing. But misconceptions is the biggest
Yes.
monster, y'all. When you assume something, and then you turn around and it's like, no, it's not even like that. You
Mm-hmm.
sit down and you have a conversation so that you can get the full clarity and understanding as to what is going on between these two. And so, what if they are dating? We can date amongst ourselves within the community. But the thing is, friendship is key first. And I love what you just said. Let it run its course. You never know where it could lead. Start off there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And even on the other side, I'm gonna touch on what you said as well too, as far as giving compliments. Um, I, it's dangerous for us in the queer community to go and compliment some of our straight counterparts,
Mm-hmm.
and that is dangerous in itself because predominantly some straight hetero black men, they don't like taking compliments from us.
Right.
They look at us as disgrace, and that is that internalized homophobia that has to be deprogrammed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of unpacking that they have to do. Toxic masculinity. So when you said they didn't like me, because they didn't accept me as my true self, that is toxic masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
because they think they look at crying as feminine. They look at it, or if you're showing emotion or anything, it's too feminine for them. It's considered. Listen, it is Men's Mental Awareness Month,
Yeah.
and the black community as a collective, for years, we have been taught what? Sweep it up under the rug. Pray
Right.
to God about it. Talk about it. You know, just you're all right. Just read a scripture or two, drink some water. You're gonna be all right. No, normalize therapy.
Yes.
Normalize it.
Yeah.
Talk to people, especially
Yeah.
in the queer community. I seen a post today from, I think, Black Mental um, Health Awareness here on the gram, and they
Mm-hmm.
were talking about the things that, if you're in the queer community, that you can do. There are resources out here if you do not have a family or someone, because if you come out as gay or bisexual or whatever, sometimes 9 times out of 10 your family doesn't agree with that. They disown you, and it's heartbreaking because these people, these young people that are coming out and fully discovering themselves, their family put them out and disowned them because they decide to walk in their light.
Yeah.
That is a problem. I said this also in the interview. If I have to live a lie, if I'd rather live a truth than to walk in a lie.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think a lot of people at a young age, they discover something about themselves. For me, it was 13 years old. I always knew I wanted to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it started in the phase of putting on my mom's makeup. You know, when she was not home, I would dip in it. She would hide it from me, but I would find that Mary Kay. I would find that Mary Kay around the house somewhere. And that's all because a girlfriend of hers would recommend maybe she should try this. And mom didn't really wear makeup, but now she just like, you do what you want to do. And I love the fact that my mom has been so supportive. My grandmother has been so supportive. All of my family, they see the makeup on me, they see their creativity, and it's like, wow, we're so proud of you. You have a gift. You really have a gift. Yes, and my mom, she was like, "You better not go in my makeup." She's like, "I know," because what she did was she booby trapped it. Y'all know how your parents booby trap certain things, like if you try to go in the box of Cheez-Its or
Yes.
goldfish, they know they put powder around it. They know if somebody been in their cookies. So
Mm.
she would booby trap it. She would set at a certain place before she go to work, and I would find that Mary Kay. I'd snoop and I'd be like, "Okay, I'm going to the bathroom," and I'd find her Mary Kay. But that's the thing. Let kids walk in their light. The young generation of Gen Z and Gen X that is coming up, they're fully discovering their sexuality. So when I seen Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union embrace Zaya
Oh,
and let her say, "This is her, this is she is ours.
yes.
We're sharing her with the world. We're pouring into her."
Right.
That's a beautiful thing to see Marlon Wayans, and I met Marlon Wayans in 2013, I want to say, at the Bronner Brothers hair show.
Mm-hmm.
And years later, look at him now,
Mm-hmm.
getting so much backlash for supporting his son
But the thing, the
and
thing,
loving on his child.
the thing is, I will always say this. As a parent, I'm an uncle, and I know how I feel about my nieces, nephews, and sisters and brothers. But
Yeah.
as a parent, how not love something you brought into this world,
Hello.
regardless of what it is that they're going through, regardless of what it is that they're discovering about themselves, regardless of how they're developing? How can you not love something you brought into this world because they're not living the life you thought they would live? Well, stop thinking for them. Let them be. That's what I'm talking about. I was truly blessed in the '90s to grow up in a family. And if you see my uncles, I am 6'1" and a half. I am the shortest man in my family. All of my uncles are either 2'6'5". My brother is 7'1". All of my
Great.
uncles are well over 200 pounds. If you see them and I interact, my uncles walk up to me, they hug me, they kiss me on the forehead. All heterosexual men, they will hug me, kiss me on the forehead. My best friend who is transgender. When I met her in college, she was a he. She's come with me this whole way. When she transitioned, their thought process was, okay, what am I supposed to call her now? Because I can't call her what I called her before because that's not her name, right? So when I told them the new name, they immediately flipped. I grew up in a family where this is your life to live. I can't tell you how to live it. The only thing I can do is love you through it. And that's how I walk through the world. Like, I don't believe in forcing someone to conform, be it friend, associate, whatever. I'm not going to force you to conform to my idea of who you're supposed to be. My job is to explore exactly who you are, encourage you to be the best version of you, to grow with you. Now, if you ain't growing, you can go over there. But as long as you're doing those things, we're gonna walk this plane together.
I love what you just said. That one word, I'm going to go back to that one word, confirm, conform. Queer people and as a collective, as black people for years, we've been told we need to assimilate.
Mm-hmm.
We need to conform.
Mm-hmm.
You need to tone it down. That's one thing I've been told. I've been doing too much with the outfits and the fashions. But I'm just like, if you go back and look at some of the black queer pioneers and the pioneers that are allies as well too. Patti LaBelle, she did the most with her hairstyles. She's
Absolutely.
one of my style influences. Sylvester,
Yeah.
Grace Jones. If you look at these are people who paved the way for the next generation of these fashion stars out here, like a Rihanna. So
Yeah.
I love them too. And my thing is this: if me wearing my long nails, because when my nails were longer than how I'm wearing them now when I first started, you're like, dang, how did you do anything with them? Um, that's me. That's a part of my brand. So if I come on and I'm toned down and I'm suited up or whatever, I change it up for me.
Right.
I'm not going to conform for anybody. And my advice to any queer person out here is don't tone down who you are.
Ab-
Don't tone down who you are.
Absolutely. Like I say it all the time. Be the best version of you that you can be, whatever that means for you. I was having a conversation with a kid who was, um, he had to be early 20s, and I had on a corset one day. We were going out
Mm.
to a party, and he was just like, "You going to take me to the party with you?" I was like, "Come on." He was like, "You going to the party like that?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, well, you're not gonna change? No. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. I don't care if they do. I paid for this. This is me. This is who I am, and this is how I'm comfortable. I was like, if somebody has a problem with it, they can stay away from me. I'm not concerned about what anybody else thinks of me. I get dressed every day because I bought the clothes I wanted to wear, not because I'm trying to impress anybody. I said the mistake you're making is you're dressing to impress the outside world. I dress to match my mood. Period. Like I dress for me. I dress, get my hair done
Absolutely.
for me. I don't do it for anybody else. So what anybody else thinks has no bearing on whether or not I'm changed. And from that date on, and I love it, because I used to have Sunday dinners like prior to the cancer diagnosis. I would have Sunday dinners at my house. People would come over and eat. I watched him his progression with his clothes. This child has gone from wearing tennis sneakers to pedal pushers to platform shoes, and I'm just like, but don't you feel good because you're dressing how you want to, how you see yourself? It's not about how
Yes.
everybody else sees you. How do you see yourself? And he was like, I've never had this much freedom. Good. It only gets better from here.
And it's a quote from James Baldwin that goes like this. It's the final thought of the day, but I'm going to give it to y'all early. James Baldwin says this: freedom is not something that anybody can be given. Freedom is something that people take, and people are as free as they want to be. So it begins with your own individuality and
Mm-hmm.
freedom of expression. And for me, it was like I said, when I first started, I was buttoned up. I would always wear capris because I was insecure. And when I was younger, I fell off the bicycle. There's a scar on my leg, and I would always cover that scar up. Now I just don't care. I let
Mm-hmm.
all the skin hang out. I'm in tune with my femininity and sexuality. And some of it was, okay, you're going to be a little bit of tomboy this day. You're going to be a little bit of feminine here. Now today I'm fully feminine. It's like this couture goddess. I've just started experimenting with so many gowns and dresses and rompers and just showing it all off. And I'm just like, okay, I like this new version of myself. I feel more comfortable. And it's just like when you go to church and you wear that hot suit and you're just like, okay, you're sitting in church for hours. I'm ready to get out this hot suit. And it's
Right.
just like, I can breathe now. So
Right.
it's just like that. When you discover who you truly are,
Mm-hmm.
authentically, it is such a good feeling.
Yes.
It is freeing.
Yeah.
It's like a weight has been lifted off of your back. The cover has been pulled off. And it's just like, this is who I truly am.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I'm in tune with my sexuality. I'm in tune with my femininity. I'm in tune with all of these things that make me me. And as people in the queer community and as individuals, straight or gay, be your authentic self, because your authentic self is what draws people in. And even with
Yeah.
me hosting this platform, I've had someone tell me this: have your own personality. What sets you aside from other people as well too? Do what makes you different.
Yeah.
And to anybody who's struggling, that's another thing that was on the post. They said to anybody who's struggling with their identity or sexuality of who they are, you matter. Your existence is valid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I tend to, so ever since, and I keep going back to this, but ever since that, when I first diagnosed with cancer, I said I'm going to do something. I'm going to every day for the whole time I'm going through chemo and everything else. I'm going to list 5 things that I'm thankful for, and it's my way of starting the day off being thankful so that I can make it through everything else during the course of that day. And my childhood best friend, not the one from college, but my childhood best friend, he said to me, "Well, why are you doing this?" I said, "Because there's something I'm supposed to learn in this journey, and I can't learn it if I stay silent. So I have to figure out what it is that I'm supposed to learn about it. And I figured if I start off by being thankful, God will reveal things to me the way that they're supposed to come."
Come on.
I learned that part of the reason why, not not why I got cancer or anything like that, but part of the reason why I had to journey through cancer was I wasn't fully comfortable with who I was. I had hair that was down to my waist, but I hid behind the hair. I had never fully embraced me and who I was. So whenever people would see me, I would have all of this hair, and that would be the first thing people would see. I would want them to compliment the hair and not the person. Don't look at me, look at this. And I told my best friend and my partner. I said, God got tired of me hiding. He got
Come on.
tired of me putting everyone else and everything before me. This is his way of telling me there are times you put other people first sometimes, but there are times in this life where you're going to have to put you first. You're going to have to love you first. You're going to have to embrace you first. You're going to have to uplift you first. Because if you don't do it, anybody else that does it is only going to be a temporary fix to a permanent problem. You have to do it first. So I've that whole journey taught me how to truly love the man that I am, and it taught me how to love other people in a way that they can accept. Not forcing my love on them and saying, "Oh, you got to take it, and you got to." No, love people in a way that they can accept. And I'm every day I'm thankful for that journey. Every day I'm thankful for that journey. I wouldn't want to do it again, but I'm thankful for it.
And to anybody, it feels great to not hide behind something anymore. Because it's just like, okay, it's like smoke and mirrors. We put
Mm-hmm,
something up which we want you to see.
mm-hmm,
We see this,
mm-hmm,
and we're hiding behind it. But it's
mm-hmm.
just like, okay, when is it going to come out? When is whatever going to come out? When are you going to reveal who you truly are? You hide behind the pain, you're masking. And the thing about it is, to anybody out here, you know, if you're in the queer community, you know what it's like to have to hide something, to have
Yeah.
to hide your true self. And especially for me, growing up down here in the South Carolina, I'm in a little town called Bamberg, South Carolina,
Oh,
and we know that the South is the heart of the Bible Belt.
yes.
So for years we have been told, and my colleague, shout outs to Bubs the God, make sure you guys go and subscribe to him, just was talking about this on his platform, about how old gay people for years we've been told, if you're going to hell, you're going to hell, you're going to hell. Well, this is my theory for that. I will go to hell butt naked in my Jimmy Choos and my Tiffany diamonds, first thing smoking down there, baby. I'll be down there, and I love it. I'd rather live my truth than to live in a lie. And if me living my truth is making you miserable, then it's you that needs to fix the problem,
Yes.
not me.
Yes. Oh, I used to tell people all the time. Whenever somebody would tell me I was going to hell, I'd be like, "And gasoline draws on the yellow bus. Which one?" Like for me, there's no hell that you can put me in. If you truly believe that God doesn't make mistakes, then nothing on this planet is. There are some things we can make better, but nothing is a mistake. Nobody was put here by mistake. All of us was put here to walk a path in a journey, and hopefully in your path, in your journey. Like I told somebody, the post that I was making during cancer, it wasn't necessarily to inspire anyone. It was to hold myself accountable. It was for me to sit up here and say, okay, if I'm truly going to fight this thing, let me go ahead and fight this thing. And let me hold myself
Yeah.
accountable to fighting this thing. Through our journey, the goal is with one person to touch someone. And if it's just one person, you've done your job. I just posted the last Facebook. The end result in all of this is to be remembered. That's it. How do we
Let's
remember? Be remembered. Be remembered for the good that you did. Be like I off topic for just a second. Because my husband laughs at me when I do this. I have a tendency to we'll go to the grocery store, and if there's a person in front of me, if and it happens mostly around the holidays, um, sometimes not. I think whoever's groceries are in front of me. Like there was one time she was buying all of this junk food. Yeah, some other and the lady rang up her groceries, and I said, I saw her looking for her wallet. I said, just keep on. So the lady started swiping my things, and the old lady looked up. She says, "Oh no, that's not mine." She said, "No, ma'am, he's gonna take your stuff. You go ahead." The lady turned around and looked at me, and I'm like, I'm looking at my husband like, what did I do? She said, "You don't understand. my buying this stuff for kids at church who can't afford to get these. You don't know what you did for me. I didn't do anything but what God told me to do. You have a great Sunday and make sure those kids get the. It wasn't for. It wasn't videotaped. None of that. It's not online. I did it because it felt good in the moment, not because of anything. And that, to me, in its purest form, is what life is all about.
And that is faith in humanity restored. It's called paying it forward. And when you
Mm-hmm.
pay it forward to somebody, they do it back to you in return.
Yes, yes. I do believe that. I believe that's part of the reason why I was held accountable during the cancer journey. Like I would post something and 200 people would comment on it and encourage me to keep going. Like on days where I wasn't feeling my best, or on days where I was throwing up all over the place, people were encouraging me to move forward. And I say that because everything that I've done in my life that has been positive came rushing back to me in that moment with people pushing me forward. And I was just, God, that's all I needed was for somebody to say, I see you, you got this. Like I have had 7 associates so far diagnosed with the same form of cancer or passed away within the last 2 weeks. And I'm just like, I don't understand what the difference in theirs and mine was. Because mine was stage 4. I had tumors at the base of my neck and all throughout every lymph node. And my aunt said to me, it's not for you to understand what the difference was. It's for you to appreciate your journey, the positive energy that you got. So every day I try to put it back out for.
And also another thing is giving people their flowers while they're here.
Yes.
And that's why when you came on, first thing I had to give you your flowers because you were one of the ones that paved the way for this rise of black queer writers.
Mm,
And we feel represented. We feel represented from reading your books.
thank you.
And even on television, it's been the conversation that I had with Mark yesterday was about why is there a lack of diversity when as it pertains to black queer artists, directors, filmmakers, writers. I mean, we're in the writing spaces, yes, but there's very few and in between.
Mm-hmm,
There's a Lena Waithe. There
mm-hmm.
is a Patrick Ian Polk. Like it's very few. DeAndre Gosfield, who did the DL
Yes,
Chronicles.
yes.
I mean, there was so. I mean, it was just a few. It was very few and in between. But why are you not writing shows that showcase us in a light? Or if we are portrayed, they hire an actor or actress that is hetero,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, okay, can we tell our own stories? And MJ Rodriguez from Pose said this: if you can hire a biological female actress to portray a trans woman, then we should be able to portray biological roles too.
I, when I say I agree with her wholeheartedly, I agree with her whole. Like I have never been one to, yeah, yeah. Like if you want money, make the money. But the thing is, there are a million and two great, viable, queer, black, Latin, Asian actors who can play the roles better than their straight counterparts. So why are you overlooking them for what the name recognition? Because oh, because it's about getting butts in the seat. It's about ticket sales. So you would rather hire the so-so actor with the name as opposed to the actor who's actually going to do the job. Okay, like I, I wish that in this medium that we're in, they would allow us to tell our own stories in the way that we've seen our stories, not the way that they think our stories should be written. I think if they did, they would see that our stories make just as much money as everybody else's. I mean, hell, Moonlight
Yes.
won an Oscar. So why not? I mean, and don't
And like
go ahead, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying Jay Evans in the comments said the same thing. Wish you guys would follow him. He says they don't want to let more in, and it's sad. It's barely few and in between that are in the writers' rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you not tapping on our doors? And
Mm-hmm.
that was the same question that I asked Mark yesterday. Why aren't you tapping these black queer artists out here and actors?
Because they're still under the misnomer that if you see it, you're going to be it. Well, if that's the case, all of us should have been heterosexual, hypersexualized individuals running around here
And that
beating on
happens too.
and clashing men. But it's not, you can't be taught. I don't care what anybody says, you can't be taught how to be gay. You can be taught the lingo, you can be taught how to dress, you can be taught what to look out for, but you cannot be taught to be gay. You excuse the language, and I hate to be this vulgar, but you can't be taught to suck dick and pussy. You can't. I mean, you can, but you can't be taught as a straight man to like putting your mouth on another man. That's something that's here, and and that's not what makes up all of homosexuality. But that's the part you all want to focus on. You can't be taught that.
Absolutely. Let us tell our stories.
Mm-hmm.
Let us tell our
And
stories.
you'll find that our stories are loving, are adventurous, are inspiring. All of those things. All of those things.
And just sit down and have a conversation with
Mm-hmm.
us. Sit down and take a walk and say, okay, let's find about you. Let's find out more about you. What's your
Right.
story? Where are you from? What was it like growing up?
Right.
All of these things, but they focus solely on that one part. Which
Mm-hmm.
brings me to my question for you, Jay. What is Pride Month? So, what does Pride mean to you? And I don't know what Pride means for me because someone asked me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a question that a lot of us as queer people. Pride for me means liberation. It means freedom. It means my choice to say and feel what I feel in my heart. That's what pride means for me. And you touched on what am I going to leave behind? Legacy. My legacy is going to be that I fought for black and queer voices out here
Yes.
because I know that we are marginalized. And when we walk into these spaces, we're faced with even more oppression and scrutiny as ever. Especially if you're in a red state and a rural state, that's even worse. You
Yeah.
got it 10 times
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
And Jay, let us play these roles instead of actors that don't know the history of the role that they're playing. And it's
Yeah.
just like it's the even with the Secret Society film, which is a little controversial. I had feelings about that. But I'm just like, let trans women tell their stories.
Yeah.
We can tell our
Yeah.
stories. You could have
Yes.
tapped T.S. Madison. You could have tapped Laverne. You could have tapped Dominique.
Which which is why I love Pose, because those stories. If you grew up in New York City, New Jersey, in the tri-state area in the '90s, what you saw in Pose,
The
that's what
ballrooms.
we
Yeah.
lived every day. We knew the trans girl who found the rich white husband who didn't want her to have the full surgery because he liked everything that was going on originally, and then when she had the full surgery, he was just like, "Oh, I don't want you anymore because you got rid of the best part." So, like Dominique's story, we saw her story. Uh, Angel Evangelisto, we knew her story. Hell, Candy, we knew her story. There was
Angelica, yes.
where in the '90s. Now, one day, if other people remember this, my best friend and I, we talk about this not often, but it's because it's something I want to write about. There was a situation in the '90s where there was a guy going around to gay bars, picking up young gay men. Those same young gay men would be found in trash cans the next day. And it just so happened one day we were at the bar, we were at Cheap Potato, and the guy at the door, his name was Conrad. I didn't realized the guy was sitting next to me trying to buy me a Corona. And Conrad kept saying, "Leave him alone. Leave him alone." And Conrad called me over. Conrad said, "Do not take a beer from him." I said, "I don't even know him. I'm not going to say thank you very much." because Conrad looked out for us. I was like, but I'm not gonna take a beer from him. He brought a beer for the guy on the other side of him. That guy ended up in a trash can in Harlem, and it was like, so the story of Candy touched home because those were the situations we were finding ourselves in. So yeah, I agree with Jay. They don't know the history to actually act in the role, to live the role. We do. Let us play ourselves.
Absolutely, and nobody can tell our stories
Better,
better than us. T.S.
better
Madison, I
do.
mean, she touched on it. She touched on it. India Moore touched on it.
Mm-hmm.
Who else touched on it? MJ Rodriguez touched on it.
Mm-hmm.
And MJ was spot on when she said if they can hire them for those roles, they can hire us for some of the roles too.
Which is why
Make room for us too.
when she did Little Shop of Horrors, I was so proud of her. When she got that role, I was like, show them you can do it. So I totally agree.
And another thing, don't make us water ourselves down. Don't make us assimilate. And if we go all the way back to ballroom culture, there's a black trans woman by the name of Crystal LaBeija. You
Yes.
know, Crystal was nothing to play with. If you don't know who she is, you living under a rock. Crystal
But girl,
was not one. Crystal and Marsha P.
yeah,
Johnson, these two women, black trans women, were not ones to water themselves down for anybody.
yeah,
And that's why I love Marsha and I love Crystal. They paved the way so that we could have a T.S.
yeah,
Madison, so that we could have a Laverne,
yeah,
so that
yeah,
we could have Angelica. Angelica is more, and T.S. Madison are more radical. And I love them because they're unapologetic in their approach, as
yeah.
well as myself. Every trans woman is different. Laverne's delivery is going to be different.
Right.
Angelica's is going to be different. Amaya Scott's is going to be different.
Yeah. Hope,
T.S. Madison's is going to
yeah.
be different.
All of them. All of them. I agree. I totally agree. I totally agree.
And
But you asked the question. Pride,
pride, yes.
pride for me simply means learning to embrace the me that is. And the me that is the me that is in the present. What I would want pride to mean for everyone it's not just about, the celebration of all of that's important. All of that is part of our history. All of that is spot on. But they did it so that you could be you. They did it so that you could walk in your truth and embrace yourself wholly. Pride for me has always been being me at all times. And it's never about, because you have some people who say, well, this is me, you just need to. No, 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 no. I don't tell you this is me. I'm showing you that this is me. And I've always shown who I am. I've never had to, never anything. Pride means embracing the you that, not the you that you not the you that you want, not the you that you're looking for, the you that, and loving on that. Because that's one thing we're lacking. We don't know how to do with, and that's love on each other, love on ourselves specifically, but love on each other.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree wholeheartedly 100%. It starts with them.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the dating preface, I'm going to go back. No fats, no films. I, I, I think that everybody's type should be celebrated.
Right.
Everybody type.
Right.
And that's something we have to get rid of within our community as well too, as policing people's bodies and
Right.
what a body should be like, or desirability. It's all about desirability
Mm-hmm.
and beauty. That's a whole different conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But again, in order for us to have a togetherness, we have to fix that brokenness,
Yeah.
because we have been traumatized. And even to the youth out here, the queer youth that is coming up out here, that are saying, okay, this is me fully. I am in love with who I am, and I love who I love. And love is love. And you guys know today marks 9 years since same sex marriage has become legal.
Yeah.
Because remember, back in the day, if you go all the way back, you had to go to DC to get married.
Yeah.
It's not in 50 states like how it is now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a lot has changed
Mm-hmm.
for queer people, and the same things that they have put into place that have been helpful to us, they are trying to take back and erase that history. So it is
makes
important
sense.
that we celebrate Pride because Marsha and Sonia, these trans women of color fought so that we could have Pride. They're
Yes.
a Stonewall.
Yes. Yes. Agree. Agree wholeheartedly. Mm.
And it baffles me nowadays that we have laws that are put into place that are going to be harmful to us as queer people. They're trying to take it away. We can't go into establishments just to buy cakes. They turn us down.
Mm.
The same way they told us to assimilate and go into these spaces. Oh, if you want this cake, you need to do this.
Mm. Mm. Well,
I'm not toning it down or watering myself down for anybody.
a lot of this is happening because a lot of us don't believe it's happening. If that makes sense. Like we're told what's coming down the pipe, but a lot of us were like, no. Like with Trump running for president and all of the nonsense that he's saying, you have people who are just like, well, he's just talking. Well, he just talked last time, and his talking last time got abortion bans, and now you have court talking about taking away other precedents, other rights, other things that we thought were set in stone. So when someone, Maya Angelou said it best, and I love her to pieces. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Believe them again. Mm-hmm.
Believe him the first time. And this man has already shown us who he is and what he's capable of. Meaning, do I believe that he's a racist? I don't know because I'm not in his head. What I do believe is that he's
He
done
is.
things.
Oh, he is.
No, I'm just saying, like, I do believe he's said and done racist things. Is it to get votes? Is it to get the white vote that he thought he was lacking? Could be. Like, I don't know, and I'm not trying to guess, but I'm also not going to take that chance. I'm not playing with him. I'm not playing with his words. He said
He's
what he said,
dangerous.
voting in the opposite.
He's dangerous.
Very
And the
much so.
thing about it is, his dad, if you guys go back and look at the
Oh,
history, that's why it goes back to what Jay Evans said in the comments about knowing your history.
mm-hmm.
This man's father has had ties to the clans,
Yep,
has had ties to KKK.
yep,
And he said he would prefer a man with yarmulke to count his money than a black man. The same one who took out a 5-page spread on 5 innocent young black men
oh, and said,
who were wrongfully
yep,
accused.
said they should, and
The
has
same
never
one who said
apologized.
never.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, oh, and he just recently came out and said, oh, well, I don't care about you. I'm just here to get your vote. So for
Absolutely.
y'all blacks out here that's going out here saying, oh, yeah, we going to vote for Trump, you're going to find out the hard way. Look at what happened with Diamond and Silk. And to the black queers out here, the black queers that out here thinking that he's for you, the same, if you sitting there smiling in that man's face, he's taking away your laws too. The same way that they took away women,
Yeah.
Roe versus Wade, they took away
Mm-hmm.
that. For that not only affects just women, but it also affects queer people
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
Yep, it's harmful to everybody. And with this
Yeah.
project 2025, uh, yeah, it keeps me up at night.
I've
Like
read.
Taraji said, it keeps me up at night too. It's
I've
terrifying. That
read.
what they're doing is going to not just hurt black people, it's going to hurt queer people, it's going to hurt indigenous people, it's going to hurt people of Asian descent, Latinx, it's going to hurt any persons or person of color. And I've been sharing to my stories the past few days, letting people know, hey, this is what's going on. Wake up to the storm. This man is not playing. If he gets elected another term, he is going to get all of his little buddies in the Republican Party right on board and strip your rights away from you too. So the ones that are in the queer community that are black talking about I'm gonna vote for Trump, I'm gonna support Trump, just know that you're going to be affected by it too.
Absolutely.
If you're not in his class, because this man is filthy rich.
Mm-hmm.
He's rich. Yeah, he's got 34 counts of fake charges against him. Yes, yes. But all of this legal stuff he's having to pay out. But he's still rich at the end of the day because, for one, he's white and he has
Yep.
privilege. Don't ever
Yep.
forget that. You would never equate to a rich white man who is powerful, who has power, who can pay his way out of anything. Which is why I feel as though he's playing with the courts. The courts is playing right in our face right now.
Oh,
Because if this was, listen, if this was limit, I'll do you one better. If this was President Barack Obama, who stormed out the courtroom, and the security had to walk him back in, chasing after him, how do y'all think that would go? I'm gonna let y'all in the comments decide.
Because I would love to do that because I know how that would go. But what people don't realize is, and I said it when he first got elected, he's doing three things. One, he's giving angry white men somebody to blame, open, as opposed to private. Like
He dog whistles. I paid attention to that too, Jay.
very,
He dog
very much.
whistles, just like with Charlottesville.
Yep.
When
Yep.
he
Absolutely.
said that there were very fine people on both sides, he didn't hold his people accountable.
Mm-mm.
He did not hold his people accountable.
Mm-mm.
He does a dog whistle. So it's just like, yep, gets his base riled up, and we've seen the end result in January 6, 2020.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
We've seen how that
that's
works.
not even gonna be. I don't. I believe if he loses, hopefully when he loses in November, there's not going to be another January 6th. But I firmly believe if he wins, that man is trying to be dictator for the rest of his life.
He's the next Adolf Hitler. He admires dictators. I
Absolutely.
mean, look at Mussolini. Look at Hitler. These men were dictators.
And
And now you're sitting over there with Putin. Putin is a dictator.
they started the exact same way he has turned the American. They turned the public against the media. Said the media was against them. They turned the public against specific. They gave the public specific targets to go after so that they wouldn't focus on them. He's starting the exact same way they did. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Hitler didn't like he didn't like Jews. He didn't like blacks. He didn't like gays. And
Mm-hmm.
just like this man right here, the one that was sitting there, orange face and all, telling us during this pandemic that we need to go ahead and do this with bleach, and we need to do. Listen, this man does not care about you, and he just said it. He said he doesn't care. I don't really care about you. I just care about your vote.
A bunch of vote.
And how to try to get the black vote was you put out these hideous sneakers. You know how black some straight black men are about their sneakers. I have brothers. My brother loves sneakers. So you think that's going to try to wean? But I'm seeing people. Some people are not taking the bait. They're
No,
not taking the bait.
no, no. Thank God. Thank God. Some people are smarter.
But to people like Sexy Red, you have a rapper by the name of Sexy Red. You're dropping clues, and you said, "Oh, things were better when Trump." Guess what, honey? Wake up. You're a black woman. Trump easily disrespects black women the same way he did Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
Mm-hmm.
The same way he called Yamiche Sindor. No, it was Abby Phillip. He said that's a stupid question.
Oh,
The same way he disrespected April Ryan,
yeah.
Yamiche Sindor, Abby Phillip,
Mm-hmm.
the same way he disrespected Congresswoman Frederica Wilson
Yes.
and Maxine Waters.
Mm-hmm.
This man is he's for the black people. He's for black. No. And
But
to Tim Scott down here from my state of South Carolina, he's not for you either.
No, he's not. But no, the sad part is everything that they're attributing to him was not his idea, nor did he want to do it. Like every black person I've heard about, oh yeah, everything was better up under Trump. We got free money.
When he would, that's what she said. She said it was better when Trump was in there.
But Nancy Pelosi got us that money, not Trump. Nancy Pelosi fought to have those stimulus checks sent out. All he had to do was sign them, and he got mad because it wasn't his exact signature.
His name wasn't on the back of it. Petty.
I'm like, are y'all serious?
That's what Sexy Red said in her interview.
I wish people would research, like, read for yourselves. Don't go by what Fox News say. Don't go by what your cousin told you. Don't read for yourself.
Oh no, because he has a love-hate relationship with Fox News and One America News Network. Yeah. All of these Republican-based news outlets out here. Oh, he has a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, he hates them when they call him on his BS, but he loves them when they play all of it. It's so funny. But anyway.
She absolutely. And when she said that, Jay, I was just like, girl, are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was better. It was better in office. This pandemic wouldn't have been under control. I'd say Biden has gotten this thing under control. We now have a sense of normalcy because when he was in office, where were we? We were still inside.
But he was the one, and that's what people don't realize. He was the one who said, "Oh no, it's only one person from China. Oh no, it's only full of people. Oh well, we don't need to isolate because it's not that bad." He waited until we got to over 150,000 dead people to say, "Oh, maybe this is bad." And then you started with the bleach and the ultraviolet rays and the
I took up cosmetology. The only time you need to be using ultraviolet rays is when that machine, when you go in there to put those hair combs and brushes in there, when you clean it or sanitizing, that's the only time you need to use those rays.
mm,
People don't put them in their bodies. When he said that, I'm like, this is sarcastically, and I'm saying this in the back of my mind. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me
mm-hmm,
right now?
mm-hmm. Mm. But I told somebody in my mind, he is responsible. I'm not going to say for all of the deaths that happened during COVID, because grown folk make grown folk. He is culpable for a lot of those deaths because had you done what needed to be, had you did what needed to have been done at the time, a lot of those people wouldn't have died. But
Absolutely. That's it, neither here nor there.
mm,
That you guys know what to do. The time is coming. Make sure you vote as
please,
if our life is dependent on it. So please vote and vote right. Do not listen to Sexy Red and what she is out here saying, or
yeah,
anybody else who is out here trying to push him.
yeah,
Because the same way you're going to learn, just like Diamond and Silk and Omarosa and any other black person who was a part of his cabinet,
yeah,
he'll use you when it's convenient for him.
yeah,
And then when it's not, what he'll do, that's it. He'll let you go.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever happened to Ben Carson? He was in charge of what was it, urban housing development?
Uh-huh.
You ain't never seen him ever since.
Mm-mm. No, no.
So just oh, and the black church appearance.
Oh,
Did y'all see his black church appearance?
a, a black
Hmm?
church white folk. Yeah, I saw that
That lets you know right there that this man is not for us.
at all.
That's all the confirmation that you needed.
Right, I agree.
All the confirmation that you needed. This man is not for black people.
I totally agree.
Once a racist, always a racist. And when his niece came out and revealed all this stuff in
Yeah,
her book
yeah,
about him, and then his sister said that he cheated. What, he cheated to get in college? All of
yeah,
this stuff. I mean, his family came
yeah,
out and started speaking on it.
yeah, yeah. But hopefully people will have the wherewithal to again research for themselves to make the right decision, not the right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wake up, y'all. Pay attention. His whole administration was foolishness. Oh yeah, and Mike Pence almost didn't want to certify their results. Um, you learned the hard way too.
Mm-hmm.
If you cross that man, he's gonna go on Twitter and he's gonna rant.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, his entire man over.
He's a narcissist, a
Oh,
dangerous narcissist at that, and takes no accountability for the people he hurt. And I've seen evil. I've seen narcissists, and I know narcissists do not apologize for the people they hurt. They do not take accountability for no sort, and they will gaslight you. And they'll say, "Oh, that didn't happen."
mind
Same
you,
way with
you
January
saw it.
6th, he could have. Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Mind you, you saw it happen, but they'll tell you, no, that didn't happen.
Man, and then what he'll do is just like they said, are you going to come out, are you going to say something to stop your base, and he just kind of dragged it
Mm-hmm.
along.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you what kind of person this man is right here. Wake
Absolutely.
up and pay attention, y'all. This man
Absolutely.
is not for black people.
He's not for anybody but himself.
Exactly. Absolutely. So wake up, y'all. Pay attention, please. If you're not registered to vote, get registered to vote. It is simple as 1, 2, 3. Get registered to vote. That's
Yeah.
another thing, voter suppression. They're using voter
Oh,
suppression
absolutely.
tactics to try to discourage black people from voting, voter intimidation
Yeah.
tactics, which I think is illegal. And I touched on that with Keith Boykin as well too when I interviewed him on here on the show about voter suppression.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And they show up at the polls to try to intimidate black
Oh,
voters or voters of color.
absolutely. They at one of the Republican conventions, the chairperson was saying, um, they were going to train people to go to the polling places to stand guard. Stand guard over what? You can't stand guard over my vote. You can't.
And
It's
every vote
crazy.
counts.
Every
Every vote counts.
every vote.
Every vote. So do not listen to him and his administration and his foolishness. But again, black queer people, we have a big fight, and that big fight is Project 2025.
Yes.
And from the TikTok videos that I've seen on people, like this is a 900-page document, and my
Mm-hmm.
colleague, my friend Bubs the Guide, went over this, and I never he went over it with the fine-tooth comb. They are trying to take everything away.
Mm-hmm.
They've already
They,
taken Roe versus Wade.
mm-hmm. They're trying to send us back to the 1950s where we have to sit in the back of the bus and we can't vote. Trust me, ooh. And if people don't wake up, we're going to be back there real soon.
Absolutely. So y'all, please wake up and pay attention. If you're not registered to vote, register to vote and vote for the right party. Please do. Because your vote counts, your voice matters as well too. Not only that, but show up and amplify your voice. That's why I have my platform. Use your voice. Be vocal. And I'm again, this generation, because when J.Omarr came out with Maasai, we didn't have TikTok. We didn't have
Mm-mm.
all of these outlets that we had back then. Now people are using the resources
Yes.
and using that information to let people know, hey, you need to go ahead and register to vote.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is what's going on, because that page is that manifesto that they
Yeah.
have, Project 2025. That thing is long. It is at least 900 pages.
Yeah. It's on.
And I couldn't sit through it. I walked away from my phone. I went to go get some ice cream. And I was watching my colleague Bubs, and he was still going on. I'm just like, oh my God, this is real.
But
It woke me up to a lot of things.
I think a lot of what they're that people won't read. But like with your friend, if you get a few of us who have read it, who are willing to explain what it is to other people, I think that will open a lot of eyes. Because people don't understand. Like them putting the Ten Commandments up in schools in the South, that's just the beginning of what it is they're trying to do. Like, how are you? I remember being in grammar school and being raised as Jehovah's Witness. You know, we don't salute the flag or anything like that. To tell me as Jehovah's, I'm not now, but to tell me as Jehovah's Witness that I have to now recite the Ten Commandments through the pledge, I'm sorry. So now you're imposing your religious beliefs on top of my religious belief. Where do they do that? Well, apparently they're trying to do it here. Okay.
Thou shalt not commit adultery. And the ones that are in power, the ones that are in power, like the secretary of press, all of these things that are in these high positions, be the main ones cheating on their wives, and then it comes out as a whole scandal, and then it's a court case. They drag it out. That's just an example. So there, it's hypocritical, if you ask me, because you're not living up to the Ten Commandments.
Absolutely, absolutely. But what you want to do is put fear in me. Like I
Fear mongering. Yeah.
that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly
Well,
what it is.
we're gonna beat you down with the Bible Belt. We're gonna Bible thumpers. They gonna shove that religion. They gonna use it, and it's dangerous. It's a
Yeah,
dangerous tactic. Let people there, and that's why I said, if you spiritual, if you faith, you Christian, you believe what you want to believe. I believe in God. My mom always told me to believe in God,
mhm,
and I pray to God. I'm spiritual, not Christian. I don't beat people down and tell them you need to live like this. You
right.
show she's got her breast out today, which I do. She's showing flesh. She need to cover up. I sit on these pulpits and I watch people like a Juanita Bynum and so many others beat the gay community down. But you're sitting there, you don't listen to secular music, but you were dancing to Mary J. Blige in that video, sis.
Absolutely.
Be the main
And
ones that are out here. It's
mm-hmm.
very hypocritical.
Yeah, so let's say I am a hypocrite. So, and don't get me wrong. Like I remember living in, I used to live in Columbia, South Carolina, and I was a part of In His Presence Ministries, and we used to listen to Juanita Bynum, and we watched her sermon, No More Sheets, and it was everything. But then to
That was my
see the
grandmother
woman
in
in
that.
person,
Yeah.
see the hypocrisy that comes out of her, it's just like, man, if you don't get out of here, like. But that also goes to, you have to find spirituality for yourself, because if you put too much into these faith-based leaders, you're going to be disappointed every time.
And they use that Bible. I'm just like, I get tired. But my brother Demario Jots, King Jots,
Mm-hmm.
um, he touches a lot about this on his platform, and I'm thankful for him because he kind of brings awareness and light to what's going on behind the scenes in the churches. It's like we already know what's going on. People are awake and aware, and we clearly see we have two eyes. It's just like you're using the Bible to beat down on gay people, to beat down on us and tell us how we should be living when you're not living by the book either. You're out here cheating on your wife. You have multiple children outside of the marriage. You're doing all of these things. And it's just like me walking in my truth than living a lie is a sin. I would rather that. I'd rather live in my truth than in my light.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's a sin, oh well.
Oh well.
But to anybody out here that's on the pulpit and they're using that book to beat, using the Bible to beat down on gay people, please stop, because you're no savior. You're no saving grace. You don't have a heaven or hell to place anyone in.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is I've stopped going to church a long time ago. I've never
Yeah.
delved this deep into spirituality on my show, but this is how I really feel. I stopped going to church a long time ago. I already told you how I feel about it. If I'm going, I already told you I'm going to hell. We going to hell together. We holding hands. I'm gonna be there butt naked. You be like, Miss Stevie. But yes, I'm gonna be the first one there.
Mm-hmm.
I, I'd rather live in my truth. I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather be happy than to live a lie. And to any queer person that's been down, raised in the South and told that you're going to hell for this,
Mm-hmm.
walk in your truth, walk in your light. And stop attending these churches that are not making you feel welcome, because a church is supposed to be a sacred space to have a conversation with God and to get solace in dark times. Now it's become a place where we go in there and we're attacked.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, I think it was Juanita that said, "Oh, were you wearing the tight pants?"
Yes.
What does that have to do with me coming here to get the word of God?
It 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 behooves me, because a lot of these same pastors who are using the Bible to beat us down are the same ones who are trying to take us to bed at night. And I speak
And
from
be
experience.
the
It's just like,
main ones. I mean, look at Eddie Long. I'll dive even deeper. Eddie Long.
yeah,
I said
he
it,
was one.
and I'm not apologizing for it.
He,
Eddie Long, and it came out.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But and that's it. It's just like, but that's why I've grown an appreciation for people like Kirk Franklin,
Oh
um,
yeah.
like people who live and let live, do your thing. I have no jail to put you in. I have no heaven or hell to put you in. I can't say what God's going to do because I ain't met him yet.
And that's another thing. Stop prosecuting people. Quit judging people,
Yes.
because just like we talked about misconceptions in the beginning of this interview,
Mm-hmm.
you pass judgment on somebody and you don't even know their story, what they've been through to
Right.
get to this part in their life. And
Right.
that is why when I tell people, when they come on this platform, yes, I'm the pilot of the ship. I created the show or whatever. But I pass that pilot seat on over to my guest. So right now Jay has the pilot seat. And we're passing it back and forth because he's telling
Mm-hmm.
his story. When my guests come on this show, they tell their story. It's not my place to dictate their stories. So you have no right to judge someone or pass judgment on someone when you haven't walked a mile in their shoes. You don't know what that person has been through. And that's why when my guests come on, I sit back in the passenger seat and I let them take the wheel. And when it's my time to take that pilot side, I take that pilot side. And that's what it means to let someone tell their story.
And can I just say, you create a very comfortable space for someone to want to say. So thank you. You create a
Thank you.
very welcoming and comforting space to where people, my friends will tell you, I talk a lot, but I don't talk this much. It usually takes a lot to get stuff out of me. But you create a very comfortable space to where people want to open up and talk. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And it means a lot coming from an icon like yourself, paving the way for other black queer writers. Because, like I said, at the time, it was very few. It
Yeah.
was yourself and Elin Harris. And we know about The Invisible Life. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
That book was everything. The Invisible Life,
Yeah.
Elin Harris, he was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I think it was Michael Dyson, one of them that written a book about the DL undercover brother.
My,
I'm just
yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, Mike. So listen, you guys were ahead of your time. But before it was James Baldwin
Yeah.
who was writing and speaking on these
Mhm.
things. Audre Lorde is another
Yeah.
one. There were very few black queer writers.
And even then they had to color code it. They had to speak in such a language where it was
Yeah.
acceptable to everyone. So yeah.
Even in music, if I'll take you one even further, Luther Vandross. People speculated for years and talked about it. If you go on the entertainment side of music, why do you think Little Nas didn't come out when he first came out?
Mm-hmm. Because his career wouldn't have gone anywhere.
And I watched when he had briefly, I've seen the clips circulate with him and Kevin Hart when they had that conversation, how Kevin Hart gaslit him.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I didn't come out because if I did, I wouldn't have been accepted. It's from where I'm from, that's not welcome.
Right.
And if you're in the South, the rural deep South, it's not
It's not
welcome.
at
You're
all.
picked on, you're teased, you're ostracized, you're put out of your homes,
Mm-hmm.
you're disowned by your families, you're beaten down with the Bible and being told you're going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
You're
But
prosecuted.
I agree with you. Like if Luther had confirmed anything, his career would have stopped right where it started. Because he never answered a question, he was always the velvet teddy bear to any fantasy you wanted to create. But and that was true. Like, and God bless her, because like even with Queen Latifah, she never confirmed or denied anything. Hence why her career still does what it does. And it's like even in this day and age, like people like Janelle Monáe who have confirmed it, now it's just like, okay, now
Because back
what?
then at that time, you couldn't say anything about it. It was
No.
being told you had to hide it under the wraps.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Give you another example, Donnie McClurkin, B Slade,
Yes. Yes.
known as Tonay, formerly known as Tonay. Now he's B Slade. Look at him
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm. And I loved his music then, and I love it now. But you're right. You're absolutely, it's been that it's been that spectrum of it. Like being on the actor dancer side of it all
Yeah.
in the music videos. As long as I was able to dance hardcore like the straight dudes, I was fine. The minute I gave it up a little bit, we would cut filming, go back, and I would have to do it again until I gave them the look that they were going for. Now, now you have kids voguing in videos and working them, and it's like I'm happy with the progress that we made with where we're going. I'm so glad that nobody will ever walk the roads that were there before them. And it's but also with that, there's something lost. And I think it's just the sense of, or the hunger for it. Now it's give it to me because I deserve to be in this space. Not let me work to get in this space, but you deserve to be. I don't know. I don't know.
And there's been a as far as black queer representation, the first thing that I saw on BET was Keith Boykin.
Hmm. Yes.
And I mean, he represented everybody in the black queer community.
Yes.
And then it was Clay King years later.
Hmm.
So I mean, they both were out during the same time. But as far as BET showing black queer representation, they'll give you a little visibility here and there.
Hmm.
But it's still not fully there on
And,
BET.
and
So
they'll
when
give
Madison
you
said,
fit a
"Go ahead," I'm
mold.
sorry.
They'll give it to you as long as you fit a mold or look a certain way. Because even if you remember, like even after Keith Boykin and all of them, when B. Scott was hosting the red carpet, they made Scott put on a suit jacket and pull their hair back. And it's like, no, 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 that's not the B. Scott that I
Tone
grew up
down,
in.
simulate.
I want the hair and the beat and you're toned down. Why? Because BET wanted you to tone, not they demanded that you tone down. And it's just like, but that's not fair to the little queer kid who fell in love with you on the internet, who thought they were about to see themselves on TV. And it's not your fault because at the last minute they pulled this on you. But it's like, it goes back to what we said earlier, which is if you're going to invite me into this space, invite all of me, invite the
Yes.
whole me, and let me be me. Don't demand that I be your version of me. That's never gonna fly. Which and it goes back to why, like a lot of times, I turned down a lot of stuff because I didn't want to play a part. Like I didn't want to have to come on set already being the actor, then you have to get into a different character. No, no, let me be me. Let me be comfortable so that I can give you the best of me. And if I can't do that, I don't want to be a part of it at all.
Authenticity and individuality is key.
Mm-hmm.
And I will not water myself down for anyone. So this is why I'm thankful for the likes of the pioneers that are in the black queer community, like a Crystal Labation,
Yeah.
Tracy Norman Africa,
Yes.
Laverne
Mm-hmm.
Cox, T.S.
Mm-hmm.
Madison. This Madison and Hope Giselle, all of these girls, and I've interviewed Hope on the show. And these women that are coming out and saying, okay, this is me fully. You can take me as I am. I'm walking fully in my truth. And if you don't like it, that's on you.
Right. And
But
hope
Black
to
B, go ahead. I'm sorry. You were
hope.
saying about Hope?
Yeah,
Yes.
she said, um, and it was on a live that she did recently. She said that if I can't be myself in the spaces that you're inviting me to, then I'm not meant to be in those spaces. Period. And it's not an all moment. It's not a woe is me moment. It's that I'm being protected from that so I can get better over here. And I loved when she said that because I'm just like, that made a lot of sense for my journey. Like, I wasn't supposed to be in those spaces. I wasn't supposed to be around those people. I wasn't supposed to be in those things because those things they feed or nurture the me. They wanted to nurture and water a plant they were hoping was going to be working. I'm actually lily. I'm good. I'm good. And I love watching Giselle. She's a bright.
And she's
Uh,
unapologetic. And that's why I love her too. And
I,
T.S. Madison is
mm-hmm,
another one. And Angelica Ross
mm-hmm,
with her approach and how she handles things as well. So to any queer person, don't ever water yourself down and make yourself feel less than to fit into these spaces. It says black entertainment television. You need to do the right thing and hire more black queer actors.
mm-hmm.
Hire more black queer filmmakers and directors out here as well too. Tap us, tap on our doors. We're there. There's so many of us.
Absolutely.
And not just we've seen the conversation with all the black men, and you had Saucy Santana on the panel educating them on what they can do on allyship. That's the first step,
Mm-hmm.
not just in bits and pieces,
But
but let us be seen and showcased as well too. And I love that you're giving a focus, they're now shining a light on the ballrooms, culture,
Yes.
which is also in the queer community. For anybody who doesn't have a family, you create a
Yes.
family. Y'all seen Paris is Burning, so y'all know what it gives.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It takes a village, and I'm counting on Stephen Hill and all of the writers and directors at BET. It says Black Entertainment Television. We're black too, and our Black Lives Matter also. So you can't exclude us
Right. Right.
because we're here too,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
our stories matter. And also give us let us tell our stories instead of
Yeah.
hiring an actor that you feel is more suited for the role. Let someone from experience walk into the role. You would not have Julia Roberts walking in the shoes of Harriet Tubman,
Right.
if that makes
It
sense.
absolutely does. Absolutely. A- Absolutely. And I agree. Whew. Mm.
I had to say it because if you're going to tell someone's story, get someone who is of that experience, a black actress,
Absolutely.
to do
Absolutely.
it.
Like you would never ask what Jada Pinkett Smith to play a KKK member. All right.
Absolutely not.
You have to get someone who's walked in the shoes.
Someone who is black, who understands the black culture, who understands what these historical figures went through.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's how it works.
Yes.
So that's that. Fashion dolls. That conversation, we touched on a number of things.
Mm.
Before we come to the close, do we have any questions for myself or Jay? And Jay, at this chapter in your life, because you published two novels which are still prevalent, people are still to this day are talking about Maasai, and your other novel as well too. What are some gems that you would give to black queer youth, the next generation that is coming up, that are reading your novels, that are fully discovering themselves and getting in tune with their sexuality and discovering their gender identity and who they are? What are some things that you would tell them while the audience is typing questions?
I would say first thing is fall in love with
Absolutely.
you cannot expect someone of what you don't love. You can't treat you when you don't know. One thing I did growing up, um, which I actually still do, even though I've had a husband for 17 years. Um, Growing up, I would take myself on dates. I would discover things about myself that I liked, that I
Yes.
didn't like, so that if someone came into it wasn't a matter of I'm going to put up with this because this is what no. I don't like that, and I know I don't like that from experience. So let's go like fall in love with you first, and then you can take. But you can't you can't walk through this life expecting people to know who you are on first glance. You have to reintroduce and then reintroduce again yourself to people. This life is about discovering connection and making those connections. And the most important thing is not every connection is meant to be. Once you keep that in mind, you'll understand why falling in love with so many people. Because people say, "Well, no, you only get one great love." No, you don't. You get many great. They just come in different forms. Like I have 21
Yeah.
nieces and nephews, and they are the biggest parts of my. I have six best friends. They take up another part of my heart. I fall in love over and over again every day with them, and I'm thankful for this. This life is about understanding that love comes in different forms, and not every version of love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what is next in the chapter of J.Omarr? Your acting, your modeling, your novels, as I said, are iconic. Maasai, people are still talking about this novel and how prevalent it is now in 2024. With people being black men mainly,
Yeah,
black straight men are being open and saying, okay, I'm trans attracted, I'm bisexual, I'm all of these things, and I love it. I'm confident with who I am, I'm open minded. they're having the conversation. They're stepping into these spaces. They're accepting their children who are coming out as trans.
Yes.
Marlon Wayans and Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, they're the prime example. These people are loving on their kids. But black straight men mainly are saying, hey, this is me.
Yes.
I love what I love, and I'm
Yeah.
not apologizing for it. I don't have to hide in secrecy anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that for them. But for me up next, I'm actually working on, and I've been promising two of my friends I was going to do this, and I've finally started doing it, turning my cancer journal into a novel.
Hmm.
Um, Turning that whole 6 period into not a self help book, but a book of inspiration. What I didn't realize was during that journey how many other people got helped by it. Like I said, like every day I would post something and there would be like 100 people on the post or 200 people, and I'm just like, I don't understand. And then people telling me, well, I'm not going through cancer, but what you said helped me in this way. And my friends kept saying, why don't you compile all of that and turn it into a book of life lessons? So that's actually what I'm working on
Yes.
now.
You guys have to stay tuned, fashion dolls. And before we let you go, it was such an honor to being in your presence. I'm sitting with an icon right now, literally. I've sat with two icons this week, Mark yesterday and today J.Omarr. And the impact. You guys realize the impact that you have years later on people. For people to be talking about your work and the
Mhm.
impact that it's having on this up and coming generation, because I think I was in middle school when I yeah, I was telling my age. I'm 30 now. And I was fully discovering myself at 13, a little bit of middle school. And your book was out during that time.
Mhm.
2000, say 2006,
Yeah.
2008. That was when Noah's Ark was out. You
Mhm.
had Finding Me, which kind of stepped on the scene. Shout outs to Roger.
Yeah.
And all of these shows that showcase black queer love
Yeah.
and relationships and different walks of life. And you're one of the page makers who were a part of this era. So yeah, I would have been in middle school when your book
Mhm.
came out. I'm 30 now, and now I have a
Yeah.
full understanding as it pertains to sexuality and being liberated and loving what you love. And now it's a beautiful thing coming from me as a black trans woman to say that I love seeing black straight men say, I love what I love.
Yes.
I'm open minded. I'm becoming more aware. And I was just reading the stats from, I think it was NBC. They have a LGBTQ NBC. And they were saying that more and more black Americans are becoming more accepting to black queer members. And I
Mhm.
love that. But we
Yes.
still have a lot more work to do, educating along the way. And I'm not going to stop until I take my last breath, educating people and bringing awareness. Because when you touched on legacy, that made me think, what do I want to be remembered for? And that was one of the questions Marcos asked me in my interview. He said, what do you want to be remembered for? What is your legacy? Some people have asked me that question. I said, one thing I want to be remembered for the most is knowing that I didn't do my work in vain,
Mhm.
that I also helped black queer voices who didn't have a voice. Because at that time, it was taboo for you to come out. You had to keep it under secrecy.
Yeah.
You had to hide it. You
Yeah.
couldn't say anything.
Yes.
Whereas now it's celebrated.
Mhm.
People are tolerating, well, not tolerating it, but people are
Yeah.
celebrating it and embracing it. And it feels so good to have people who love you for being your authentic self.
Yeah.
Because hiding in the closet, coming out of the closet for anybody, staying in that closet, it's nerve wracking because you have to hide secrets.
Yeah.
You have to hide this secret.
Yeah.
You got to hide this secret. Hide this secret. Hide this secret. Meet me at this place at this time. If you know, you know. You had to keep it under wraps. You
Yeah.
couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And if your family found out, God forbid,
That was a whole nother world.
worst case scenario, they gotta be like, "What is this?" You'd
Mhm.
have to hide it.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
with my mom was different. My mom said, "Tell me something about you. You like this, don't you? You like me?" And it was way before I became Stevie. At that time, she said, "You like boys, don't you?" I said, yeah. She said, tell me the truth, because you know mothers will get it out of you.
Yeah.
Black mothers will get it out of you.
Yes.
They know. My mom said, tell me the truth. She said, you like boys, don't you? I said, yeah. I mean, I was looking at Usher because I had Usher and B2K J-Bug pictures up. Me and my sister used to fight over who getting a Lil Fizz poster, who getting a Marion poster. Me and my sister,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we used to fight over that. God rest her soul. But, um, but coming out to my mom, she said, you're my baby. I'm not going to love you any less.
Mm-hmm. And that's how it should be. That's how
You
it should be.
came
And
from my womb. I birthed you. You're my baby.
that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Like I tell people all the time, like my goal, my job on this planet is to make all of us feel seen. And that's it. My goal is just to make all of us feel seen. And hopefully I can continue to do that.
And that you are. And I see your post, and it's refreshing seeing your post because we are in dark times.
Mm-hmm.
And in this climate that we're in right now, this political climate and in this social climate that we're in, we need something that can just give us an escape and a getaway. And every day seeing you post, whether it's your outfit and then I read the caption,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, this is deep. This makes me think. And we need more of
Thank
that. More of that than ever because we're in times of
you.
uncertainty.
Yes.
May was Mental Health Awareness Month. June is Men's Mental Awareness Month. So to
Yeah.
see black men open up, the lineup this week is all black men. To see black men open up about mental health and say, okay, this is me. That's the last thing I wanted to touch on. And this is what I've been through. And this is what I've endured. I don't have to hide my tears anymore or fight back tears. I'm going to let those tears roll.
Yeah. 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 Totally agree. Like
It's remarkable.
I'm a firm believer in you can't be good to know you be of service or of help to anybody if you have help yourself. Be it therapy, whatever. Like I'm a firm believer in I don't you know growing up here well we whatever goes on in this house stays in this house.
Stays in this house.
Mm-mm. Because what's in the house makes poison, and if it stays in the house, it's gonna kill everybody. No, I'm a firm believer in getting the help that you need in order to sustain yourself, in order to make sure that you are the healthiest version of you that you can be, both mentally and physically. Like I told my best friend, I I had one associate who knew something was wrong in his body, but refused to go get checked until it was too late. He died of cancer. That's why when I saw the lump on my throat, my first thought was, I'm gonna give this a week. If it because I had it before and it was fatty tissue and they said it would have gone away by itself. So when I got it again, I was like, I'm gonna give it a week. If it doesn't go away, I'm going to the ER. Thank God I did. Because it's just like we need to be aware that we are our biggest advocates as far as health, mental health, and physical health goes. Nobody's going to advocate for you better. Like most people will say, "Oh, well, you know how we used to do back in the day. Grandmama give you aspirin. Different. Aspirin one, they were cheaper, and two, grandmama followed aspirin up with some other stuff. I love to say, take a month per paycheck for health insurance. Take yourself to the doctor. Find a therapist. Make your you can't help me if you aren't being like now that goes for black men and black women. You are the head of your household. You are sick, the entire house is gonna fall apart. This is your house. If you are sick up here, the entire house is gonna fall apart. Go to the doctor. Get you talk to somebody. Cry if you need to cry. Create a journal if you need a journal. Do whatever you need to do to get yourself in the headspace to where you can deal with the rest of your life. Because the rest of your life is what
Absolutely. And that's my thing to anybody as well too. Life is too short. And
mm-hmm.
today we just lost actor Bill Cobbs, and I remember seeing him in The Bodyguard with
Yes.
Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
So my condolences and my heart goes to his family.
Yes.
And again, black men, I love what Jay just said. Please get out there. If for women, if we can go to the doctor, you can go to the doctor too.
Yeah.
Find out what's wrong.
Yes.
Find out what's wrong.
Yeah.
Take care of that. And I'm loving that more and more men are starting to say, okay, I'm getting up and I'm going to see what's wrong.
Yeah.
And it was an actor, Da Vinci, opened up about the stats of how black men suffer with mental health, whether it's depression, bipolar disorder, whatever it may be. Da Vinci put those stats out there, and he was saying that he battled with depression as well too. And I'm just like, oh my God, I didn't know this number. This number was very alarming.
Mm-hmm.
So to see men in their 50s get up in age and say, okay, I need to do this, and men at a younger age get up here and say, I'm going to go to therapy, I'm going to normalize therapy, I'm going to sit on that couch, and I'm
Yeah.
going to talk to somebody. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that,
I.
because we got to get out of what stays in this house goes on in this house, and that's what's been taught in the black household. Just sweep it up under the rug. Don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Never tell people no,
And
no,
that's
because
the
what's
truth.
in the situation, it might kill everybody. So no, don't do that. Mm-hmm.
All right, fashion dolls. So, Jay, where can everyone check out your work? It's such an honor to be in your presence, and I would love to chat with you again.
Almost. Um, all of the books are available on Amazon and Lulu, Amazon.com and Lulu.com under J.Omarr. Last name is not included, just J. Period Omar. Um, and I would love to chat with you again. Like I said, you've made this such a pleasant and welcoming environment that I've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you very much. I would love to do this again.
Definitely, and I'm gonna shoot you those dates. And I love you too, Chef Ladybug. Thank y'all. Yeah, I'm glad that y'all enjoyed this because, like I said, when I'm fighting for Black voices, I'm fighting for all of us, and it's about inclusion. And I want everyone to feel included. Everyone gets a seat at the table when they come here to the dollhouse. And I want you to know that your voice is valid. You are loved. To anybody out there that's in the queer community that's struggling with finding their identity, just know that your presence is valid. Your voice is valid. And
Yeah,
don't let anybody try to make you water yourself down, because the key thing of the conversation today was
yeah,
authenticity
yes,
and living in your true self.
yeah.
And that's what I want you all to remember. To walk in your light, walk in your truth. You are amazing. You are remarkable. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And Chef Ladybug says, thank you, J.Omarr.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Jay, again. It's an honor to be in your presence. Like I said, you're an icon, and you're right. And we're definitely going to have you back on the show again. Would love to.
Thank you. Love you.
You too. Take care, Fashion Dolls, and joining me tomorrow. Men's Mental Awareness Week and Pride Week continues on with amazing black men this week. It's Pride Week. It's Pride Month. You've got Black Men Mental Awareness Month. You've got, what else? I mean, it's so many.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot it. Black Music Month as well too. That was it. Black Music Month. So tomorrow, continuing on with me, we have amazing actor John F. Thomas. He's going to be back with us tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune in at 4. And take care. This interview will be uploaded on Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. If you've not subscribed, what is you doing, honey? Please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification with that bell so you'll be notified when new shows are uploaded. And I love you all, and I want you guys to be safe and take care and enjoy the rest of y'all's evening. Talk to you later.
Good, Charles.
You too.